One more stream here on Splash Play NBA to close out the week, and it seems like it's going to be a fun one. Number one, $8 tournament on DraftKings today. That's going to be pretty cool. Number two is that you got a lot of questionable tags, LeBron being the big one that's going to impact everything on the slate tonight. Of course, we're going to do what we always do here. We're going to look at my projections, compare them to the industry leader or one of the industry leaders at Stokastic. We're also going to hop into their simulation tool, see the best lineups, check the ownership as well along the way. Of course, in the second half of the video, we're going to go to the world of Unabated, where you get $30 off the promo code SPLASH. Of course, the best betting data. Had some guys chatting in earlier today, how they won money with the pick'ems I've been posting here. So got some nice super chats for that. Shout out to our guy, Mike. But we got lots to look forward to here. Let's get into it. Let's start with our top projected players here. Number one, actually, it's Friday. I have to open a beer. I brought a beer in here, and Lord knows I'm going to drink it. It's one of those days, by the way, where there's ASMR for you. I'm always committed to the bit of like, oh, it's Friday. I love the concept of, here, let's open a beer. It's relaxed, kind of a chill vibes on a Friday. I don't fucking want to drink a beer today. I'm tired, man. I've been up since 6 with the kid. It's been a tough day, but I do appreciate all you guys being here. Yeah, I had to put a test chat in. StreamYard on the NFL, the second NFL stream I did today, all of a sudden it did change like my setup, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? But seems like it's now straightened out. We got the normal stuff here, normal looking chats and all that. Shout out to all you guys. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate Noel always giving me the thanks for the good info chat. I'm here for you guys 12 to 4 p.m. or 12 to 4 p.m. Jesus, 5 days a week at 4 p.m. and also at 11 a.m., not 12 to 4. 4 hours every day doing NBA content. Probably a little bit much. But hey, cheers. Happy Friday, guys. All right. Time to get some near beers as backups. Even that, it's like if I'm drinking a beer, just give me something 7% or higher if you can. So today we're drinking actually a wrench beer from Industrial Arts Brewing Company. Hazy India Pale Ale, lush and tropical zest. So if I'm full of even more zest than usual, you know it's why. Hey, cheers right back to you, Miles. Appreciate you being here. All right, we got Giannis number one. 58.1 is my projection on him. At a $12K salary, definitely tough to pay this price tag today. Not a lot of streaming value, not even value we talk ourselves into. Like yesterday with the Spurs players, that one went away. One thing I will say here with this stream every day too, because I'm doing it at 4 p.m., make sure you're still paying attention up to the wire for injury news. Hopefully I don't have to say that to you guys, but I will say it. Yesterday moved around so much while I was on stream with my pal Josh Engelman doing the deeper dive. A lot of stuff moved around. Then after that, Marvin Bagley became a starter for the Wizards out of nowhere. That mattered a lot as a $3K minimum salary guy going up. He ended up being the best value play in the slate as Jared Butler got worse, as the Spurs centers got worse from not starting in that situation, and then also being a 3-man rotation. Just one thing to keep in mind here. I try to give you guys the best take based upon data, but like legit, Stokastic yesterday changed their projections, their minutes projections in between me doing this stream and me doing the deeper dive, and those were right after each other. And I'm like, oh shit, they moved Bassey down 2 minutes. Changed a lot of stuff I talked about. So just want to say that out loud because I do care about you guys making sure you're operating off of actionable data always. Anyway, Giannis number one. Getting Chris Middleton back today, I would have thought his projection would lose a few more points. Tough match against Boston as well. Great real life game. Maybe not the best NBA DFS game. That said, Giannis, if you can pay up, great. I did not get him a single share in a sim. He's too expensive, and the field will have him at 2%. So you want to go there, you certainly can. And Bagley played more than people were projecting also. Yeah, he hadn't played over 10 minutes on the year, and he got a full run there, got to 30 fantasy points. So, yeah, it's just one of those things that can be weird last minute, and it sucks. Like, I don't know. Like, it's annoying that the entire slate changes so materially sometimes. That's sort of the fun of NBA DFS. You got to take it how you take it. Your number two projected player on the slate, Anthony Davis. So right now, LeBron is questionable. Actually wrote that up today for DK Network using Unabated's conditional NBA projections. Basically, right now, AD looks great. Russell looks great. Rui Hachimura looks playable. Connect looks playable. Those guys are going to go up a lot here if LeBron is out. All these guys' rates are going to jump up, honestly, to the point where I won't even tweak their rates. I'll just let them keep their season-long numbers in my projections. When you just take LeBron out, it opens up. I mean, on the year, LeBron is at, I think, just shy of 30% usage is what I wrote up. He's at 29.6% usage. A very high 44% assist rate for court time without Austin Reeves, who's also out today. LeBron's been at 31% usage, 48% assist rate. So him being off the court, you're basically talking about 80% of the possessions that are just going to be wide open for other people to grab. AD is going to take a lot more. Russell should take a lot more. Connect should get some more. Rui should get some more. But basically, it's just going to open up everything for the Lakers really materially for a rotation that's not that deep either. So a lot of opportunity if LeBron is out. For right now, though, he is projected in. And I'm at 51.1 fantasy points, so he'd be a good play. The matchup against Atlanta is too soft. LeBron looks pretty strong. Really, I think AD and LeBron, good plays right now. AD, though, will get crazily owned. He's already projected for 22%. He'll be 40, 50 if LeBron's out. Obviously, if LeBron's out, he'll be 0, but right now he's at 29%. Projected ownership from Stokastic here. Jason Tatum, got him at 50.1 compared to 49.7 for Stokastic. Still not getting him in the sim. Again, really hard to pay for these guys overall. Is my sim exposure right? I just didn't get any expensive guys? That's odd. That can't be. No, you know what? This didn't import correctly. Why did it not import correctly? Give me 1 second here. I'll try to re-upload this. So I'm like, I know I had some LeBron in my sim. All right. I think that should get it. Okay, there we go. So I'm getting 43% Anthony Davis in my sim, 19% LeBron right now. Both look good here, over 50 fantasy points. AD, though, the stronger play given the matchup against Atlanta. My projections account for differentials above average and rebounds, assists, stuff like that, blocks. So AD should probably soak up some more of that. Facing an Atlanta team that's, again, not very good at anything. Also very blockable, very easy to grab rebounds against them. All that. We got Franz Wagner looking okay at 47.9 for me compared to 45.9 for Stokastic. I'm getting him 9%. These unabated numbers are also not accurate for today. I was basically playing with the unabated projections here, but they're not out yet, so I can't actually show them to you. These are from yesterday's stuff. All right, we'll take those out so we don't confuse anybody. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, both look equally good here. I'd prefer Sabonis by a little bit. De'Aaron Fox, though, been great on the year. I am getting more of De'Aaron Fox in the sim, getting 10% compared to just 5% for Sabonis in the top 150 lineups I sim before the show. Trae Young, getting less than him. He and Jalen Johnson have been basically projecting the same for me this entire year. In this spot tonight against the Lakers, I have Jalen Johnson looking like the better value, play at 8,500. Trae Young, maybe a pseudo audition for him to be a Laker. He has been linked there in the past. That and the Spurs, I feel like the two teams he's been tied to the most in some of the trade rumors out there. But that said, not a great projection on him. His usage has been down on the year. He's also been not shooting well. He's not as efficient, even though he's given up usage, creating a lot of playmaking opportunities, lots of assists for him. But the usage not being there makes it tough to play him. Whereas Jalen Johnson, high usage, rebounds, assists at a pretty good clip. Does a little bit of everything. So I prefer Jalen Johnson amidst the Hawks guys. Let's sort by value here. That's sort of the top projected guys. You can see the rest of them on the screen. Some more of them we'll talk about when we get to the value metrics anyway. But guys that I currently have as top values in the slate. Jeremy Sohan. So no Devin Vassell today. No Victor Wembanyama. Jeremy Sohan has been a usage fiend on the year in this spot as well. I would have him getting even more. In games so far without Vassell or time without Vassell, without Wembanyama, Sohan's only played 80 possessions, or 80 minutes rather, 159 possessions, but 26% usage, 26.3% if you want to be accurate to the decimal point, 15% rebound rate, 24% assist rate, 1.17 fantasy points a minute. He's been a monster out there. And Sohan, if you remember earlier in the year, I had talked about some of my struggles having good projections on Victor Wembanyama. It was because Sohan was taking so much usage away. Now you're taking away a top usage guy in Vassell as well. There's a lot of opportunity for Sohan on the wing. Theoretically, your Stephon Castle kind of tier of guys, your Champagnes, Harrison Barnes, they could take more usage away. But Sohan has kind of been treated as a number 2 option. At a $6,100 salary, I am at 39.3. Stochastic, less aggressive, has been 35.6. I'm going to get 83% of sim lineups today with that projection I have in him. So he's a big stand for me. Yeah, that's basically it. Like, he just looks really good. Not a player I love that much as a talent. I don't know that he's that great of a player, and honestly not that great of a fit with the Wembanyama, but Sohan at 39.3 does look pretty good. D'Angelo Russell, 34.5 is my projection on him. Stokastic has him at 31.7. Court time without Austin Reeves on the year. He's been averaging 1.09 fantasy points per minute and about 530 possessions. So we're pretty close to the sample size we want to see. 550 is the mark where rates start to stabilize a little bit more based on back-tested data. But 24.5% usage, 29% assist rate, 1.1 fantasy points per minute. He was awful as chalk the other day. It was a tough match against Miami where nothing really got going for the Lakers. Against the Hawks, I don't expect that to be the case. So D'Angelo Russell, I'm getting him in 81% of lineups. He's in 55% of the Fields lineups right now. Obi Toppin, a value once again, producing fairly well per minute. Not a lot of great values in the slate. As a result, Obi Toppin, Jalen Smith coming up 20% and 13% for me. The field will own them a similar amount as well. 21% Obi Toppin, 15% Jalen Smith. John Collins, a man who I've had well projected all year. That's the case again. I have him 4 fantasy points higher than Stokastic. Did a much better player this year, rate-wise, production-wise, the per 100 possession numbers than he has been in previous years. So decent spot for him today. For Utah, they are going up against Portland, which obviously battle of the bad teams here. Portland missing Klingon, missing Robert Williams as well. Center's a little bit softer there. Ayton has not been that great of a rebounder this year. 17% rebound rate, not that bad, but certainly I would say visually a bit of a lazy rebounder. Ayton has phoned it in since he got the second contract. That said, I think Collins looks good. Kessler looks good. The rebound differential that the Trailblazers give up is going to help these guys out today. AD, despite his high price tag, still a top value, which also shows you have bad values on the slate right now. DeAndre Hunter at 5K, Stephon Castle at 4,800. I'm a little bit lower than Stokastic, but still getting him in 32% of my sim lineups. Keldon Johnson looks okay. These guys are all, the Spurs are all pivots to Sohan if you want to try to get away from him, but Sohan should dominate the usage. That's how it's all looking right now overall. Let's go game by game as we do here, and we'll try to figure out some more things to talk about along the way. We got Orlando, 105.3 implied points. Philadelphia, 101.8 implied points. We are 3.5-point favorites here for Orlando on the road. Orlando's defense can be really daunting for a lot of teams. For Philadelphia, going to maybe make me feel bad about 23% exposure to Paul George right now, about 3x the field on him. The Orlando side looks okay here, though. Philadelphia, not too great on the year. Playing at a low pace is really the main thing. It's not a high-pace spot here. It should be like a 96 pace, even in the modern NBA, where it's slowed down a little bit more. Not very good. So that said, Franz Wagner looks okay. Should be okay in the half-court offense. 9% sim exposure compared to 8% for the field. 13% Jalen Suggs to be compared to 8% for the field as well. Suggs and Franz Wagner I'd have producing a little bit better above their season average of fantasy points per minute today. Besides that, a bunch of guys here about 5% owned. I'm getting less than it. Anthony Black, again, no value on the slate right now. I'm getting 9% compared to the field's 5%. So he's an interesting play, 22 minutes per game. We're really hard to predict when he has the outlier days. When you have Jalen Suggs in, the minutes really might not be there as much as they should be for him. There's not a lot to love on the Orlando side, but definitely some tournament options with Franz, with Suggs, and to a lesser extent with the cheap Anthony Black here. Obi Toppin sounds like he'd be a Star Wars character. I'm not deep in the Star Wars universe, but I would agree. I feel like the OB part of it certainly lends to that for sure. Philadelphia, talk about my Paul George exposure. That is all I'm getting here. Jared McCain, 25.9 minutes projection, $6,700 salary, doesn't look good. Andre Drummond's questionable right now. If he were out, he would open up a few more minutes. But with Paul George going, with Maxey going, these guys' price tags have kind of stabilized at an area where none of them look that great. Paul George, though, I do think is some ceiling on his price tag. I had him at 1.2 fantasy points a minute today. 40.1 is my projection. So I'll get him in some lineups for sure today. No issue with it, really, though. If you're not going to play Paul George for a defensive reason, Orlando, one of those teams, maybe Minnesota, another team, OKC, another team you worry about in the wing defense there. So you want to fade Paul George. Field's not playing him that much. I'm playing him a little bit more. Lakers 113.3, Atlanta 118.8. The line feels kind of like a LeBron-less line to me. No LeBron and Austin Reeves. I think that's the Lakers as a 5.5-point dog. That said, LeBron is currently in the projections. He looks okay, as I mentioned, 29% ownership. I'm getting him at 19%. AD is already a big stand for me, getting him 43% compared to 22. I'm a little bit higher projected than Stokastic, about two in fantasy points and change, 2.5. Really think that AD is a strong play as it is. Going to look a lot better if LeBron gets out. D'Angelo Russell sucked as chalk the other night. Do you think you have to go back there? I'm at 34.5 fantasy points. As I mentioned, one of the best values on the slate, on a slate where there isn't a lot of value. That said, I'm projecting him at 1.05 fantasy points a minute today. He's been at 0.87 on the year. Not shooting well still, even with him. Look a little bit better in the second unit. 54% true shooting rounded up is not where you want any sort of chalk player to be. But, a little bit of assist upside. Definitely a lot more if LeBron is out. If LeBron is out, I don't think there's a case to fade Russell at all. If LeBron is in, you make the case a little bit more, but realistically, there's just so much opportunity to go around because of Reeves not being in. Done losing money on Don't Connect. He's not that great. I always have him a little bit lower projected, so I'm not getting him as much as the field. Same thing today, getting him at 17% compared to the field's 28%. Connect's rates don't take a big jump either with Austin Reeves out, which kind of shocked me. Dalton Connect, he's at 18.6% usage, 8% rebound rate, 7% assist rate, 0.84 fantasy points a minute. It's not that bad. Connect, 31 minutes, also not that bad. But he's just not that great of a producer. I'm at 0.77 on the year. Today I'm at 0.79. I'm just not crazy about Dalton Connect. That said, if LeBron is out, that's just opening up 80% of possessions basically in the normal time he's on the court. So that would make me go to Connect more. As it is right now, though, I think Connect's not playable. And everybody else in the Lakers, they just don't do anything. Like, they're just out there barely playing. Cam Reddish's usage is the lowest it's been. Max Christie's incredibly low. Like, Reddish is single-digit usage. He is completely broken from where he was when he came in the league, where he would try to get his own shot. Now he's doing absolutely nothing. Connected, the one good game is kind of living off it. Yeah, and I think it probably does impact the projection still at the sample size. But yeah, Connect to me, not a great play right now. Salary works, shooting guard, small forward. I get that part. But he is shooting well. 61% true shooting is right where you want your white guy spotting up for threes to be. So he's doing all this stuff okay, but like, he just doesn't rebound that much, doesn't assist very much. But if LeBron goes out, that's all out the window. He's going to be able to do whatever he wants for the most part. They're consolidating the white guy Laker things to one Laker white guy via money printing. Yeah, unfortunately not how that works, but honestly, sound logic. Atlanta, 118.8 implied points on their side. As I mentioned, I'm low on Trae Young, 3% sim exposure compared to the field 6. Jalen Johnson getting 13 compared to the field's 9. DeAndre Hunter, no value, getting him at 25 compared to the field's 14. Nobody here stands out that much, though. Hunter, if there were anybody playable as a value, I would get them over him at 27 fantasy points as a projection for me, a 26.2 for Stokastic. Not a lot to love here. Bogdan Bogdanovic has been playing better. That said, the season-long rates, I can't get there. But he did have an outlier day last time out. The minutes have been up for him. If you want to chase Bogdan, you can. A shooting guard, small forward, 4,700. And frankly, not a good enough projection where the field will get a ton of him. But he did play really well last time out. My pal Josh Engelman was talking about him. And really, whenever that guy says, like, oh, this guy, price is too low, should become, like, he's going to have a day soon, I do tend to take that with a lot of weight. He had his day. But he can honestly have another day here. Lakers defense is just really bad right now. Milwaukee, 109.8 implied points. Boston, 117.8 on their side. A good real-life game, though. Honestly, Milwaukee, an 8-point favorite, still feels kind of weird to see. They're getting Chris Middleton back. You can't play Middleton, though. He's only projected for 15 minutes. Got to be a ramp-up to composition here, you would think. Middleton being in makes everybody a little bit less projectable. I'm still getting 3% Giannis. I have a higher projection on him than Stokastic does. Field to be at 2%. But really not a high-paced spot. Tough Boston defense, getting Middleton in. Too many factors to make these guys not playable. And you also can't afford Giannis on the slate that is easily at a 12K salary. There just isn't the value to get there. So Giannis, tournament play for sure, but nothing is that. Did I say 8-point fave? Sorry, 8-point dog. Going through all these games one after another, I kind of lose focus a little bit. Yes, an 8-point dog here, surprising to see. Would certainly be more surprising to see them as an 8-point favorite on the road at Boston. Yeah, Boston's too good. Milwaukee is not as good as they've been in the past. Giannis has always struggled historically versus Boston. So not a thing I worry about. Again, the DVP kind of stuff, just never a thing really. But it's hard to love this team with Middleton coming back in, not a high total, and really a tough Boston team that probably will get off on the idea of hitting a bunch of threes right in Milwaukee's face. Boston, the 8-point favorite here, 117.8 implied points. Tatum, I'm getting 8% of him, a little bit lower than the field. Jaylen Brown getting 3.3%, a little bit lower than the field, 7.4. Derek White's still getting 11. The main thing here is no Porzingis, so more usage go around for the main guys, but still not enough to make them really high projected plays. Jaylen Brown's price tag came up after it went nuts last time with Jason Tatum out. Derek White's price tag came up a little bit as well with Jason Tatum out. He had a great game too. Drew Holiday was out in that game. Now he's back in. Really nobody looks that playable here. Tournament options for sure. Competitive game theoretically, but nobody projects that well, and the salaries are not really offering a ton of value. Indiana, really high total here, 125.5 implied points. Even with that, though, I am not getting much here. I am always low on Halliburton. I don't change anything of them, and it's a road game, so you wouldn't do the home road splits thing anyway. He just doesn't shoot that well, 56% true shooting. His assist rate is not as high as it should be. The field's going to be playing him like crazy. I won't be there. I will say that there have been times where me not having Halliburton when he's chalky for the field has been great. There's been more of them than not. That said, there's a few times where he has spiked massive upside, and I just haven't been there at all because I have him underprojected. But really, the main thing is the usage is so split between these guys. 5 guys with about 23% or less usage. It's just too much in this rotation. So as a result, Halliburton to me shouldn't be played that often at 8,300. Same thing for Siakam at 7,800. The matchup against Chicago is really good, though. Chicago, bad defense, plays at a high pace. It's a pace-up spot at 102 here. So think in this situation, you can really try to match the field here. I won't naturally. The guy I'll get is the value TJ McConnell at 4,700. But really, to me, these guys all project worse than other players at similar price tags. So I won't be in Indiana. You want to fade Spags today? Load up on Indiana because I can't get there, but the field is going to be there. Miles Turner, I'm getting 12% compared to the field's 20. Mathurin, 14 compared to 18. At least those players are reasonable to me compared to Halliburton and Siakam. But again, I think these guys are all kind of similar plays. They're all about 1.1 to 1 fantasy point per minute, guys. I said that backwards. But like they're all just the same dude, just different positions. Halliburton clearly has the biggest ceiling, but when he's going to be 25% played, I just don't see the reason to be there. TJ McConnell as the value works, but I'm still getting him less in the field. Getting less Jarris Walker in the field and getting Obi Toppin 20% compared to the field's 21.4. Again, decent value. Really been productive this year relative to Obi Toppin. 0.92 fantasy points a minute. Given the matchup, the pace up, and the soft Chicago defense, I have at 1.06 fantasy points a minute today. Brolo stats have fallen off they've always been bad though, but it's certainly not going to get better. He does still have random tournament games. But he's basically the same player with just slightly lower rates. That is what it is. And yes, listen to Consigliere here. Please like and subscribe, guys. New videos Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. My same process here. I create my own projections based off of Stokastic's minutes. I then compare them to Stokastic. I always do play my own, but really just talk about that all. Of course, looking at the lineups, looking at sim lineups, looking at prop betting markets with Unabated coming up in a few minutes as well. That's what we're getting on the menu here every day on Splash Play. So please hit that like button, subscribe. Trying to get to our first 500 here so we get the channel monetized and all that. Ideally by the new year. Sacramento, 117.3. San Antonio, 110.8 implied points on their side. Sacramento, nothing looks fantastic to me here. I'm getting more Fox in the field, 10% compared to 5.5. Getting less Sabonis, 5% compared to 11. Getting a little bit less DeMar DeRozan, 12% is for the field. I'm getting 8%. Malik Monk, I've been low on this entire time. He is starting now, but really hard to love any of these guys, I think, together because you have a starting group where they're all gunning to various extents. De'Aaron Fox still holding a 30.6% usage rate, which is the highest of the group. Malik Monk coming in with the starters, getting 22% usage. He's taking a lot away. Interesting team. I think a fun team. More of a fun NBA 2K team than a real-life team or a fantasy one when they're all healthy and in. But that said, you can play guys here as tournament options. Nobody's that highly owned. Hard to love anybody, though, at these price tags with all of them in and available. Always been your favorite click today. I mean, he's been good as value for a few slates. I get it. When there's no value, just take big men who are high per minute guys. Like it's basically it, who are the backups. One of my best nights this year came from Brook Lopez on a night when Giannis is out and everyone went with Portis. It was at the night where Portis was ended up playing backup center. That was the fucking worst. Because Bobby Portis is like one of those plays. It used to be that he and Middleton, when Giannis were out, just lock him in. They're going to go for 40, maybe 50, maybe 60 sometimes. It was crazy. But this was the first time ever where the Portis thing didn't work because they just didn't play Portis at the 4. They had him playing backup 5, and it was really awful. Doc Rivers just does some dumb shit. He has to change shit. That's for the sake of doing it. But yeah, happy that worked out for somebody that wasn't me, I guess, that I know. San Antonio, 110.8 implied points. We talked about the Sohan stand. I'm getting him like crazy. He's been producing well in the minute at 1 on the year, rather, at 1.09 fantasy points per minute. I'm at 1.2 today without Vassell again, without Wemby. Just two really dominant two ball dominant guys who are also dominant. Two guys take a ton of usage away. Now it's all available, and Sohan's been the highest usage guy amidst everybody that remains. Stephon Castle probably gets more shots up. That said, I have him lower projected than Stokastic. Still getting him a good amount, though. He'll be in a third of my lineups. He'll be in about a third of the field's lineups. Chris Paul, I'm getting 14% compared to 9. Don't need a big stand here. He's been really good overall in court time without Wemby, without Vassell as well. He's been playing at a 1.15 fantasy point per minute pace, 20% usage, 45% assist rate. So he can gun a little bit. It's only 280 possessions, though, so the rates could still be a little bit unstable. But, Chris Paul works here. He's the lowest owned option, I think, out of the key guys. Zach Collins didn't start yesterday. It was really weird. So they didn't start Collins. They still played Collins. They still played Bassi. They still played Mamouche Kashkavili. Mamu, I think is what the smarter people who don't want to say the full name would call him. They played too many guys as the bigs. As a result, you're not going to get Collins today. If you see Collins starting or Bassi somehow, if any of them were named the starter, I would probably give them a little bit more of an eye. As it is right now, just too much of a share if these guys are going to play off the bench, especially. Matchup against Sabonis. You don't have to play a big man here, but it wouldn't be shocking if you just put Collins out there to keep Sabonis from rebounding and creating a ton of value on offense. So I would watch out for a Collins start here, and he'd become a more interesting play at 5K. But yeah, he's averaging about 0.98 fantasy points a minute. I'm at 0.96 today. If you were to somehow get him to 28 minutes, he would look like a solid play. You give him 23, 24, you're not really there. So that's how that looks right now. Everything else here, Keldon Johnson, 19% compared to 15 for the field. Stephon Castle, people always like to go to. I just don't think the rates stand out that much for me. I'm at 0.84 fantasy points a minute today. Champagny, 0.9 fantasy points a minute looks okay as a lesser-owned guy, but really nobody that great to me here besides Sohan. And Stephon Castle works. Castle shooting guard only? He should be point guard, shooting guard. Minnesota. Got 109.8 implied points for them. Minnesota, always a team I'm not getting to. Anthony Edwards has the ceiling. As a result, his price never drops. That said, his projections are pretty low now. 43 for Stokastic, 41.7 for me, 5.5% field ownership. He can spike in any given day. Competitive spot against Golden State maybe is where he does push things a little bit harder. But with Randall being there, it just takes so much usage away. And frankly, Mike Conley, too, still out there taking some possessions. Just hard to get the Edwards ceiling when he's getting 31% usage, 18% assist rate. Only 1.17 fantasy points per minute. Like, he's just not that guy per minute overall. Ceiling is there, though, for tournaments. So if you want to get there, you can. Castle's one of ETR's top 10 values. I mean, he's a top 10 value for me, too. But it's just, I still don't think he's like a ball dominant player who's going to crush. He's out there for a lot of minutes. He does add some defensive peripherals, but like he's okay. I like Sohan to me is the play there. Like Sohan's been the one who dominates the ball. There's not been any point this year where Castle's like dominated offensive usage. So I get it. Like, again, I saw him in the third of my lineups. So I'm not fading Castle. Who else on Minnesota? Getting Mike Conley a little bit here. Again, no value on the slate. Pivot point potentially to D'Angelo Russell a little bit. But I'm getting him in 17% of my sim compared to 8% for the field here. He's probably due to shoot better, but he's old enough that maybe he's not. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, no value on the slate, and he's shooting guard, small forward, and projected for 25.5 minutes. So an okay play, not a priority, who I'm just highlighting because there's no value on the slate. Golden State, everybody back for this one. Everyone being Steph Curry, Draymond Green, probably Wiggins again. As a result, these guys are not priced for the situation. Some of the Warriors got priced up a little bit here for the court time without Curry last game. So Kevon Looney still playable as a semi-value at 4,200, but really you don't want to go there at 18.6 minutes. Kuminga getting 2% compared to the field 2%. Steph can go nuts here theoretically, though Minnesota's defense has been really tough, and it's a pace-down spot. It's hard for me to make a case for anybody here, but I see the tournament options. Draymond Green, though, just an awful projection at 6,900. Like he should be 5K flat every slate at this point. Utah, this is the last game on the slate. Then we'll hop over to Unabated. Utah, 111.8 implied points. Portland, 114.3 implied points. John Collins, my stand here once again. He's just been great on the year, averaging 1.2 fantasy points per minute, and I'm at 1.27 a day. Lowry Markkanen, I'm much lower on. He just doesn't spike usage that much this year. Only 22% usage, shooting well. Certainly could shoot more against Portland, but I don't see why you would go there. I'm getting him lower projected, 33.5 compared to 36.2 for Stokastic. I'm only getting 4% in a sim as opposed to 18% as a result. If you want to fade me, go to Markkanen over Collins. That's the most obvious way to do that. Kessler getting in 29% of lineups. He does suffer with Collins playing as many minutes as he is right now. Collins, I think, a better rebounder, even though the rebound rates do favor Kessler a little bit. But Collins just takes enough away that Kessler's ceiling has not really been there. I think Kessler can get you the 35 fantasy points I projected for him, but I don't think he can get you 50 with Collins out there. So if that matters in terms of pure ceiling and how you approach things, maybe you don't play Kessler, but on a slate where there isn't great value, getting a guy who can give you 40 at 6,300 feels okay. And if I get 40 from Collins and 40 from Kessler, I don't mind that. So I feel pretty good about that. John Collins, the Jaden Daniels of basketball for Spags. I don't agree with that necessarily, to be clear, completely different, but they are guys that I get a lot. And frankly, Collins, much like Jaden, has paid off much more than I would have thought based on how everybody did not feel the same way as I did. But yes, Collins, I think has been one of the better plays in fantasy this year. And if he goes somewhere good, if he's traded somewhere that makes sense, he might be an important part of a championship caliber team, at least a playoff competitive team. We'll see. Getting Keontae George. You have no Clarkson again, so Sexton, Keontae George looking better plays than they would normally. Keontae George, though, the better play to me at 6,200 or 5,900 compared to Sexton at 62. Getting Keontae George 11.3% compared to the field's 11.9. I am not getting Sexton at all, though I did not juice rates here for Clarkson being out. Besides that, nobody looks that playable here, even as a value. Yeah, Kessler, Collins, maybe Keontae George. Portland on their side, no Klingon, no Robert Williams. Questionable Scoot Henderson that could open up a few more minutes on opportunity for guys like Simons in particular. Delano Banton off the bench as well, theoretically. But DeAndre Ayton looks like a good play here. $6,800 salary at center. Not a bad projection at 36.5 as well. These are two bad teams here that are playing at probably a league average-ish pace, 99-ish possessions per game. Ayton, to me, strong play here because there just aren't center plays that are great besides Anthony Davis on the slate. So going to him, building a more balanced build, it's going to happen naturally with the sim. These are my top 150 lineups with 21% exposure going Ayton's way. Shaden Sharp getting him 15.3% compared to the field's 15.1, so not a stand. But at least I'm with the field on him. I do have him projected pretty close to Stokastic, 30.3 compared to 31.2. Everything else here, I'm low on. Avdia when Grant's in is really not a play for me. Anthony Simons just been kind of awful on the year, 0.9 fantasy points per minute. He's probably the worst high-paid player in the league right now compared to, like, he's got all the usage in the world theoretically at his fingertips, and he just doesn't do anything with it, doesn't take it. Simons bums me out, man. He used to be so good a couple of years ago. But yeah, Portland playable, especially on the Ayton and Shaden Sharp front. And CJ the Great wants the grass. Well, if you want the grass, then you know what I'm going to do before we hop to the world of Unabated. I'm going to give you those graphs right now. Click your categories, look at the markets, click up top, you're getting dynamic projections. Just keep Zion Williamson out, as we always say, and you'll be good in the projection front. You want news? Real-time NBA news here. They give you Discord alerts and everything. So, get alerts. I don't always have good lines, guys. Graphs! Look at that graph! Look at that graph you got. Oh, boy. You haven't seen a graph like that before, my friend. Expert game day live streams. They compete against me. You can watch them. I won't yell at you. Count your money. Unabated. You can be counting even more money with the promo code SPLASH because you save $30 on monthly packages at Unabated. Check it out. Link in the description. And of course, Unabated, you want to get good at betting. Don't just hold your finger to the wind and start placing pick'em slips. Use Unabated's data. I keep hearing from people who are winning with just me showing you top markets on Unabated every day. So please do yourself a service, a favor, and just use betting data and stop listening to fucking YouTube creators that lie to you about fucking how they're doing. I hated that. That's the one thing I'm like relieved to not be doing anymore with probably. It's like I would watch other YouTube channels and go like, this guy loses every single fucking day and he just lied about his results and nobody in the chat will call him out for it. And there's a million different dudes like that. The worst one, which I think I mentioned on Splashway before, this guy stumped the spread. I don't know if he does basketball or if he only does baseball. I haven't checked the channel in a while. Legit the worst capper in the world. Like legit the worst capper in the world. And then he would put like on his videos, like if he had one good day, he'd be like, huge road lock. And it's like, and it just fucking never, it was never really a lock. So now that anything in betting's a lock, that guy was extra not a lock. If you're going to fade anybody in the industry, that'd be the first guy I would fade. Fucking dork of all dorks. Let's rule everybody in here. So we got Scoot Henderson questionable, LeBron questionable, Taurean Prince, Kobe White, Andrew Wiggins. These are our key guys now. I would expect Wiggins to play. LeBron, I think, doesn't play based on that line. Taurean Prince probably goes. Kobe White, I think, can go, but unclear. Scoot Henderson probably doesn't matter that much. Let's send these out and see what we get. Got a hardened staff for graphs. Thank you. Alert, graph alert. DK was calling him out. Was calling out the stump to spread guy? I hope so. Good. Good for DK. I like DK. Those guys are good to just go opposite. Look, the thing is that I think if you create good content, like if you know what you're doing on YouTube, you make a compelling enough argument, like you're going to just fucking rope in suckers. But like I would watch that guy's videos every day and I would be so fucking mad. I actually like, this is something I never do. I commented from YouTube accounts, like my old ones that I had to Football Outsiders and Edge Sports. I was like, this guy is wrong every day. And he muted me and blocked me because I kept calling him out for being wrong and pointing out that he was wrong. Which I would never do, but like it really got my goat, man, with probably. Anyway, your top points bets right now. Harrison Barnes under 12.5 points. That one's at -118. Obviously, it's the traditional odds for a pick 'em. Playable and Underdog looks also okay under 12 points on PrizePicks. Harrison Barnes playable on DK Sportsbook as well under 11.5 points, 16.2% AV. Basically, under the projections here from Unabated are not giving a lot of credit for Harrison Barnes, soaking up the usage left behind by guys like Wemby, guys like Devin Vassell. So Barnes lines here looking very elevated on markets. Onyeka Okongwu getting value on over 9.5, -110 odds on DK Sportsbook. Looks like one of the best bets today. You're getting 16.1% EV on over 9.5 on PrizePicks and Underdog as well. So Okongwu over 9.5 points looks good no matter where you're going to place it on a pick'em site or on a regular sportsbook. Obi Toppin over 8.5 at -124. 17.04% EV on FanDuel Sportsbook at that -124 line. Everywhere else has been pulled. So play your Obi Toppin over 8.5 points only on FanDuel Sportsbook if you can get it. Chris Middleton, not going to play a lot of minutes today, so this line seems inefficient. Under 8.5 points at -105 odds gets you 14.9% EV on DK Sportsbook. You can also add it to a PrizePicks Pick'em. The line has been killed on Underdog. So Chris Middleton under 8.5, on DK Sportsbook and PrizePicks. Nikola Vucevic under 21.5 points. -115 odds on DK Sportsbook gives you 12.2% EV. That's the only place you want to bet it. Brook Lopez over 9.5 points. -118 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook gets you 11.1% EV. So you get the same deal on a PrizePicks Pick'em over 9.5 points for Brook Lopez today. So people wanted to talk about Brook Lopez being shit this year. Hey, here's an over. You can take and add to your Pick'em slip. Or a regular bet on FanDuel Sportsbook. Zachary Rizache under 11.5 points. That one looks good on PrizePicks. 9.7% EV for a PrizePicks Pick'em. Playable on DK, but not FanDuel. Rizache under 11.5 points at -120 on DK Sportsbook. Gives you 8.8% EV. Let's go to rebounds next. Lower on the Atlanta Lakers total with the thought that LeBron's out. I mean, I think the total's probably accounting for it. I like market lines. I don't think you get a ton of EV betting in general, like over-unders and stuff. You can take the under. I think the value is probably on the over, though. Because honestly, if they're accounting for LeBron being out, I think the Lakers still could put up a similar amount of points and just not have LeBron be there. So, but follow your heart. I think that's a fair way to look at the value metrics. But again, just over-unders, there just isn't a lot of value on generally. Kuminga, 30.8% EV on under 4.5. Now this one, yeah, we have Wiggins. This assumes Wiggins plays, so the under would not be as clean if Wiggins were out. So keep that in mind. But under 4.5 at -115 odds on DK Sportsbook. And is it playable? And playable on PrizePicks as well. 29.3% EV for Jonathan Kuminga under 4.5 rebounds for a PrizePicks Pick'em or -115 odds on DK Sportsbook. Obi Toppin over 3.5 rebounds. So overs on everything for Obi Toppin. -114 odds for Obi Toppin over 3.5 rebounds. That gets you 19% EV on FanDuel Sportsbook right now. Obi Toppin over 3.5 rebounds. Steph Curry. This is assuming that Wiggins is in. So you're good to take this no matter what. Over 4.5 rebounds for Curry. 18.7% EV at +106 odds. Getting a plus money bet with this much EV. Run to take it on FanDuel Sportsbook if you can. Not playable on PrizePicks and Underdog because it's under the 8% EV that we want to see for Sims. But 10% EV on DK Sportsbook at over 4.5 as well. -110 odds on there for Steph Curry. Over 4.5 rebounds today. DeAndre Hunter, value under 3.5 rebounds, 14.4% EV at +130 odds on DK Sportsbook. Under 4 rebounds, still looks good for a PrizePicks Pick'em with 10.9% EV for DeAndre Hunter. Under 4 rebounds on PrizePicks, under 3.5 on DK Sportsbook. Keegan Murray, 14.4% EV on over 6.5 rebounds for him. You're getting -134 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. Still playable on a PrizePicks Pick'em as well with 12% EV for Keegan Murray over 7 rebounds. Harrison Barnes, under 4.5 is the rebounds line for him that you want to take. -135 odds on DK Sportsbook. That line has been pulled on PrizePicks and Underdog, but it gets you 14.3% EV on DK Sportsbook. Of course, we're going to do the Sims for DFS lineups in a moment, guys. If you're tuning in for that, bear with me here. Dyson Daniels, 14.1% EV on under 4.5 rebounds. That one's at +126 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. Still playable in a PrizePicks Pick'em with 10.6% EV for Dyson Daniels. Under 5 rebounds, and you can play it on DraftKings Sportsbook too, under 5.5 rebounds at -142 odds on there. The best bet, though, is FanDuel under 4.5 at plus money. Assists. Going to assists next. No, just learning some. Look, in general, sportsbook stuff, reacting fast to news is a good thing. But yeah, if LeBron were out, the line would probably move, but I wouldn't do it before you knew LeBron was out, because right now it's kind of priced for the 50-50 nature of it all. All right. So we're getting on assists here. Just making sure I got all the markets in. All right. That can't be all the markets. Well, let me send this one more time. There we go. All right, we got Anthony Black, over 3.5 assists, plus 122 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. Gets you 26.7% EV. Nobody questionable for the Magic right now, so this line should be good to go no matter what. Draymond Green, the under here comes with some risk because of Andrew Wiggins being questionable, but under 5.5 assists, 17% EV right now at plus 100 odds on DK Sportsbook. You're also getting 8.1% EV on PrizePicks and Underdog, under 5.5 assists there. Jalen Suggs, over 3.5 assists, gets you 16.8% EV at minus 124 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook right now. Not playable anywhere else. LeBron, if he were to go, and you could take his bet because if he doesn't play, he'll just get voided. Over 8.5 assists looks good on FanDuel Sportsbook. Minus 132 odds gets you 15.2% EV. Still playable on PrizePicks as well. I feel like we can always build really fucking heavy PrizePicks card. A 13.1% EV on over 9 assists for LeBron on PrizePicks. And also playable on DK Sportsbook as well. A 14.1% EV on over 8.5 assists at minus 135 for LeBron. Tyrese Maxey, over 4.5 assists, gets you 14.2% EV on FanDuel Sportsbook at minus 110 odds. You don't want to play that anywhere else. DeMar DeRozan, 13.9% EV on under 3.5 assists at plus 130 odds at DK Sportsbook. It seems like it's not available anywhere else. Jason Tatum, 13.7% EV on over 5.5 assists. That's plus 120 odds. Also playable on a PrizePicks Pick'em. Over 5 is the line there, and it gets you 13.7% EV. And last but not least, our PRAs. And again, really the biggest sales point I could give you is that for Unabated, there are people that are spending a lot more money than you or I will ever spend on a DFS slate, a night of betting. They use these proprietary projections because they're the best in the industry. They paid Justin Fan and his team to make the best projections in the industry for that reason, to make these high dollar bettors happy. So really key thing to know, if you want to get better at betting, just get better results. Market-based data / proprietary projections are the two things you can do. You get them both with Unabated. So check them out. Link in the description, $30 off of Unabated using that promo code SPLASH. Or just click the link. Do both. Harrison Barnes, under 17.5 PRAs. Minus 105 odds on DK Sportsbook gets you 24% EV. You're also getting 17.3% EV on under 17.5 on a PrizePicks Pick'em. That Barnes line, playable wherever, but it's not available on Underdog anymore. Draymond Green, under 20.5 PRAs, gets you 17.6% EV. Again, this assumes that Wiggins is playing. If he were out, this would look a little bit less good. PrizePicks, still good EV on under 20.5, 15.3%. Playable on Underdog as well, and playable on DK Sportsbook. 16.7% EV there for under 20.5 at minus 115. Zach Collins, 16.6% EV for him. Only available on Underdog, but over 15.5 PRAs gets you 16.6% EV for Zach Collins. Underdog exclusive. Higher on Underdog, not over, never over. Under 15.5 at minus 105 odds for Zachary Rizash's PRAs. They get you 11.1% EV on DK Sportsbook. Not playable. PrizePicks and Underdog. Onyeka Okongwu, over 17.5 PRAs, gets you 10.6% EV on PrizePicks and Underdog. Not available on DK Sportsbook. Rudy Gobert, over 23.5 PRAs, gets you 9.7% EV, minus 115 odds on DK Sportsbook. Underdog playable as well, over 23.5 on there, 8.4% EV for an Underdog pick'em. And last but not least, Nikola Vucevic, under 35.5 PRAs, minus 115 odds, gets you 9.1% EV, playable on DK Sportsbook. Is it on FanDuel too? It is not on FanDuel. You're not good there. But Vucevic, under 35.5 PRAs, minus 115 odds on DK Sportsbook. That's the world of Unabated. Go check him out. Show some love. Again, I could not be doing this channel, strapping in for a brand new channel and building it up if it were not for our friends at Unabated. So please check them out. Great people I work with over there, and great company. And I look, you never guarantee anything in betting. If you were to use Unabated and you told me you lost over the course of like a month, I would be shocked. I would really and truly be shocked. They have the exact setup you need to win money in betting at Unabated with the proprietary projections and also just the simulation tool. It's so sick. Like, really. Take my word for it. Don't take my word for it and try it out, whatever. But will change your life in betting. All right. for some reason, what is this, hockey? No, this is college sports. Why is it doing this again? I have NBA open. It's giving me fucking college football. Come on, Stokastic. Help a brother out. All right, NBA. Now we're going to get it right. Generate our lineups. We're going to do here with Stokastic is have them build 5,000 lineups and have them compete 10,000 times. We'll find out who the highest ROI players are according to Stokastic data. And of course, if you're watching this video and you've gotten value out of it, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Your engagements go a long way for me. I'm just one guy here running and doing everything, thumbnails, fucking podcast editing. I do it all by myself here because I love what I do. I'm really pleased I can do it, but I can only do it when you guys keep showing love, subscribing, hitting the like button, doing all that. On that march now to 500 subs on here, and that's the first 500 that helps us get monetized and all that. So please make sure to hit it. Trying to get it before the new year if we can. Let's simulate these lineups out. 33% to first today. Run the contest sim. And other plugs while we're doing that. Underdog, $1,000 of bonus cash. Promo code SPLASH on there if you can build some pick'ems of your own. Stokastic, you want to use this simulation tool or look at their data, pour through it all. If you want to get stuff like the lineup generator, which is kind of a stripped down version of their Sims product, that link's in the description too. Unabated, we talked about enough here, but really, please check them out. $30 off the promo code SPLASH. Link in the description. And if you just want a regular optimizer, the solver too, I have linked below because I do use that for my NBA lineup sometimes. Honestly, every day I use it, but I might just use Stokastic today and just overlay my projections on it. We'll see. Wouldn't hate if I accidentally left it on college football projections. No, you gotta, there's a link in the description, Chunk. I don't know if you heard. Yeah, I don't know why that came up. I didn't even know I had access to college football. I actually don't think I do. Because they only give me the ones that like I do content for. / that I've asked for, and I definitely never asked for college football. You're great. I'm a Stokastic guy. I try to give guys some love and love the alternate takes. So thank you. I appreciate it. Look, I always say here, like I'll show you my projections. Please feel free to default to Stokastic. They're the best in the industry for a reason. But really combining Stokastic stuff with unabated stuff, if you're going to try to make your own projections and not really make them, just take unabateds, combine them with Stochastics. You're going to get pretty good projections off of it. So there's a lot of ways to win in DFS, and Stokastic's tool is definitely one of the better baselines out there. But, show you some different pathways here. Your top ROI lineups right now. But I appreciate that. Thank you, John. D'Angelo Russell, Stephon Castle, Jason Tatum, Jeremy Sohan, Zach Collins. Tough to play him if you don't know he's starting. TJ McConnell, John Collins, DeAndre Ayton, the Collins boys, the brothers here, reunited. Honestly, no issue with that team. Seems like one I would build myself. These were only Stokastic projections, not mine, infused in any way. So I'm not too far off here. Jalen Suggs, Dalton Connect, Keldon Johnson, LeBron James, John Collins, D'Angelo Russell, Jeremy Sohan, Shaden Sharp. Don't mind that team. A little bit less into it. Obviously, if LeBron's out, it's going to change everything anyway. But if LeBron's in, he's still a good play. Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, Dalton Connect again, Jeremy Sohan, Jalen Smith, Tyrese Halliburton, who I will be very low on, Julius Randle, Domantas Sabonis. I think I like that one the least out of the ones we've seen so far. First one's my fave. These are okay. Number 4, Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, Lowry Markkanen, another guy I'm just low on. Jeremy Sohan, Anthony Davis, Mike Conley, Julius Randle, and Jalen Smith. No value on the slate. You get a big man who produces well per minute. Jalen Smith coming up in these lineups, a good amount here. Number 5 is Jalen Suggs, Stephon Castle, Dalton Connect again, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, LeBron, and AD. TJ McConnell, Jeremy Sohan, and Jalen Smith. Really, maybe you want to tack a hawk on that one if you're going to play LeBron, AD, and Connect. But look, they can all hit. It's possible. It's a lot of money tied up in the Lakers, though, for sure. Your top ROI guys, only one is a positive ROI. It's my boy, Jeremy Sohan. Yes, the Spags chalk, doing well. Everything else here, Jalen Smith, the flat 0. Keldon Johnson, -2. Mike Conley, -2. Stephon Castle, -2.5. Overall top exposures, you are getting Jeremy Sohan, 74% of lineups compared to the field's 32. Stokastic agrees. Lock in your Jeremy Sohan. Well, not lock, but, play a lot of Jeremy Sohan, one of the best plays in the slate. Stephon Castle, they are higher on than me, 57% compared to 34. I'm flat with the field on Castle, way above on Sohan. TJ McConnell, you're getting a lot of him as a semi-value play. Backup big men / point guards who produce well off the bench. That's coming up here with McConnell. 55% compared to 32% for the field. D'Angelo Russell, you're low on Russell. That surprises me. 49% compared to 54. If LeBron is ruled out, I am sure they will still not avoid Russell. And look, you're still getting him in half your lineup, so I think it's still like he's a good play no matter what. But I'm surprised to see him be lower than the field. Dalton Connect, 43% exposure compared to 28% for the field. So a lot of leverage on Connect, even if you don't like Lakers white guys and don't think they can consolidate powers like Megazord. Stokastic seems to think they can today, or, he can for them. Jalen Smith, 37% exposure compared to 15%. If any value at all opens up in the slate, Jalen Smith probably goes away. McConnell goes away a little bit more. For right now, these guys are your best approximations of value on the slate. Tyrese Halliburton, a big old stand here, 34%, still 26% for the field. I'm going to have none. So you want to fade Spags, play Halliburton, fade John Collins, fade Sohan, I guess. LeBron, 33% compared to 28. Your highest overall leverage guys, Sohan, 42% leverage, Castle, 23% leverage, McConnell, 23, Jalen Smith, 21, Connect, 15, Keldon Johnson, 13. So that makes sense to me, getting 2x a field on Keldon Johnson. If Sohan fails, maybe Keldon Johnson had a good day. So that jives with what we know of DFS. DeAndre Ayton, 22% compared to 12%. So high leverage on him. And Halliburton rounds it out here. Not going to happen for me, but they're getting 8% leverage. The most negative leveraged guys, Obi Toppin, negative 17% leverage on him. Wow. So they don't like the Toppin value. They like the Jalen Smith value. They like the TJ McConnell value approximation. I'm shocked that they don't like Obi Toppin for what he could do as power forward center. I don't get why. I really don't get that at all. Why you would get Jalen Smith but not Toppin. Me, they're kind of the same play. Backup guys can produce a lot. Probably not going to get you more than 20 minutes. Toppin and Jalen Smith, same to me. Stochastic disagrees. Mathurin, 6% compared to 17% for the field. You are really low on him. Siakam, negative 11%. They're high on Halliburton, low on Siakam. I think that makes sense. It's really Siakam, as I mentioned a few times on the stream, probably a lot of times. Since Siakam came to Indiana, Halliburton's rates fell off a cliff. He was so hot last year. Siakam came. He lost his possessions that Siakam takes away. It's now worse with Mathurin and Miles Turner all being around that same usage rate, and McConnell too. So Siakam is kind of your direct leverage against Halliburton, but the sim is making a stand against Siakam and in favor of Halliburton. Rui Hachimura, they were low on as well, 1% compared to 10. Keontae George, 3% compared to 11. Derek White, 5% compared to 12. Simons, you're getting basically none of compared to 6% for the field. And Zachary Rizache getting 2% compared to 8. So about 1/4 of the amount there. But that's it for the slate, guys. Again, my splash plays of the day, the ones that I would probably feel the most comfortable with. It's Sohan, it's D'Angelo Russell as your value-ish guys, my top projected points per dollar guys. John Collins, besides that, Anthony Davis, I think, is one who's only going to get better if LeBron are out, but he looks good as it is, given the matchup against Atlanta. Your value guys, to me, Obi Toppin and Jalen Smith. I don't know. That's it. That's it for the week, guys. It's been a fun week of videos. Again, if you're just tuning in, hit that like button before you go. Subscribe. Do all of that. Goes a long way for me. Check out the sponsors, Underdog, Stokastic. These are all linked in the description if you want to get one of them and support the show. And shout out to all you guys here. It's another good week of business. We're now about a month and a half in of doing these shows. It's been a pleasure for me. We're regularly getting to these near 100-ish or above 100 concurrents. Awesome to see here. Please keep coming back. I'm here Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Of course, available in the VIP Discord as well. If anything weird happens too, I do put my projections in there if something changes meaningfully. So that's it for me this week, guys. Wish you guys the best of luck. As always, make sure to gamble responsibly, even though there's always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. And I'll be back on Monday on the NBA channel for more. Of course, over the weekend, I'll be on the Splash Play NFL channel, 9 a.m. for my final takes video for the Week 14 NFL slate. So check that out. But hey, if I don't see you again soon, enjoy your weekends. And again, good luck. Bye-bye, guys.